Part of my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces. How the fuck you bumpy and broke with a pale racist? My lineage free people of color with a left make each.
Super. Yeah, you listening to Super Blaze. Let's go. DJ Super Blaze is in the mix. Bang, bang, bang.
Part of my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces. How the fuck you bumpy and broke but a pale racist? My lineage free people of color with a left make each nigga. This right here maroon, now it ain't burgundy. If you plot murder, I'm certain that you'll need surgery. Hurt from when the burner squeeze. Protecting tribe business. Only consulting with
check.
Tribe.
What up?
Please don't confuse us with those considered native. Semi-autonomous never was in our nature. Just address me as Esther Lucy. Wild Indian status and Cherokees riding broochies. In my war bonnet, if you want it, bring it to your region. And black force is the same.
Maroon J.
European.
Part of my autonomy.
I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy.
Welcome.
Controlling our situation.
You know what it is, man? Super Blaze inside the campaign mix.
Faces.
Through the campaign. The autonomous party.
Black folk. Well, you never find a white.
You ain't gonna never, ever find a non-melanated talking about Aborigine. Sit down with that. Man, let's get into it real quick. Shout to Mac. Donna Green, what up?
Part of my autonomy. I know.
Hey, I still want to see the video after this now.
Pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy.
This is my campaign mixing.
Nation controlling our situation.
We just in the mix. You know what I mean? I was in the mix.
Nation from pale face.
Vibing.
How the fuck you bumpy and broke but a pale racist? My lineage free people of color with a left make each nigga. This right here maroon, now it ain't burgundy. If you plot murder, I'm certain that you'll need surgery. Hurt from when the burner squeeze. Protecting tribe business. Only consulting with governments, tribe to tribe with it. Please don't confuse us with those considered native. Semi-autonomy never was in our nature. Just address me as Esther Lucy. Wild Indian status and Cherokees riding broochies. In my war bonnet, if you want.
Shout to Love on Purpose. What up, mama?
And black force is the same color the European. Part of my autonomy. I know
Big Creed.
Me. This ain't pertaining.
Part of my autonomy with all that money, man.
Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces.
Aborigines, which means what? Black folk. Well, you never find a white aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines, but you don't like it because of aborigines.
Yeah, you listening to Super Blaze. Let's go.
Yeah, rhyme so dope, my eyes low. When you move like God, the time slow. I came back for the blacks and John Doe's. Crack open them land pads, let go of them town homes. What's a native to a native? Eat $5 dough if he not melanated.
$5. No melanin? Stop playing.
Yeah.
You know what it is, man? Campaign Mix Super Blaze.
Yeah.
It's the podcast show like no other, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, rhyme so dope, my eyes low. When you move like God, the time slow. I came back for the blacks and John Doe's. Crack open them land patents, let go of them town homes. What's a native to a native? Eat $5 dough if he not melanated. Pale faces got you waiting on a savior. Sending prayers up, he texting back on vacation. Yeah, God's children. Give all your praise to Jesus, but how God feeling? He say put no one before him in divine image. It's you with God and Christians. I got a vision, but niggas ain't gotta listen, so they don't. We came from the soil, wasn't fucking with no boats. Bible took our spirit, English potted on our homes. Tribal families turned on us, don't act like y'all don't know. But fuck them and they grudges. We was something turned to nothing. And now we let this turn to something. Reincarnation of ancients, fresh up out the oven. This the message to the black man. 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 Shooters on my roof, lawyers in the coop. We can never die, bitch, we bulletproof. This the message to the black man. This the message to the black man. Tell you wasn't slaves, you was prisoners of war. You stop wasting your time, these other bitches ain't important. You ain't meditating, you ain't mating with the sauce. Like what the fuck's a noodle if you ain't painted with the sauce? I find it hard to trust the pastor who rather side with the master, who preaching we should submit while getting murdered and captured. About how we should wait on God is never our vernacular. They get paid and praised by the dollar long as they keeping us stagnant. And niggas think they woke, huh? Like you could change a whole world through a vote, huh? Like slave masters willing to let their slave go, huh? That slave master was probably your kinfolk, huh? History in reverse, a black king strategy. When blacks were your majesty, they always hide your pyramids but point to where the castles be. Aristocracies with your last name patent accurately. Yeah. And I ain't even tell half the shit. Like, I ain't even tell a quarter of the shit. I'm just getting started. Yeah, y'all niggas rest about busting guns and all this weird shit. I'm trying to get my people ready, niggas.
In there, my tribe of opera mind, so what's happening? Government and all y'all cross the line, so what's happening? My ancestors wouldn't like you cross the line, so what's happening? We original, y'all GMO, y'all lying. I do this for my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche. Oh yeah, my niche, my niche, my niche. I do this for my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche. I do this for my niche. Yeah, yeah, my tribe of opera mind, so what's happening? Government and all y'all cross the line, so what's happening? My ancestors wouldn't like you cross the line, so what's happening? We original, y'all GMO, y'all lying. I do this for my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche. Oh yeah, my niche, my niche. I do this for my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche. I do this for my niche. Should've left me where I was, cause I ain't never scared. Took that little ice off my neck for this Earl head. My nation, my niche, someone thorough said. Real Americans, still pure blood, we thoroughbred. I'm like, let my people go and just take me instead. When it's red or blue pill, I'm only choosing red. I'ma always choose my people, you can keep that bread. Our government owe $1 trillion, you can keep that bread. If it's one thing Jim Crow is showing me, I don't want no white folks ruling over me. I don't want no politicians ruling over me. I don't want no po-po ruling over me. Only somebody just like me gon' treat me like me. I'm Iron Cherokee, the chief and Dr. G.L.E. I'm still a G like DST. You might not be as G as me. You think you free, but you need remedy to be as free as me. I'm from the hood, I'm still waking up my people. They got us good, they still hating on my people. When it comes to fashion, the whole world wanna be like us. When it comes to music, the whole world wanna be like us. When it comes to dancing, the whole world wanna be like us. Foreigners are doing everything, trying to weaken us. Sports, y'all can't fuck with us. Rhythm, know we killing y'all. Anything involve a ball. Mentally, we figured out the cosmos. After all inventing shit, we smashing y'all. It's time to take through asking y'all rights by blood. After all, Vatican and the Smithsonian got all our shit. Artifacts and relics still keeping us away from it. Hey, that was a long time ago, that's racist shit. Y'all holding land, keep stolen shit. We don't need y'all holding it. Reverse engineering our technology, controlling it. Gave it everything you got, but you can't put no soul in it. I ain't go see the new matrix cause I'm living it. Everything is not what it seems, but I'm killing it. Can you afford to pay attention who you living with? Now they trying to mandatory back for these, you getting it. Fall back off my knees, I'm peeping y'all tactics. This ain't no earth war, this is galactics. Goddess is in God's warming up like practice. We gon' put arrows on your chest like that. Mongoloids can't style like us, them fake natives ain't wild like us. They ain't got a soul, destiny as a child like us. Nobody power like us, nobody peace pipe like us. Boxing, y'all can't fight like us, nobody lost they right like us. Wake them up, I'm in the way. Say too much, I'm in the way. They trying to kill us anyway, so listen what I'm finna say. Everybody, our kids, we raised y'all anyway. What that since he's finna say, everybody ain't here to stay. Is you with us or against us, ain't no in between. I'm a non-ether being, not a human being. I fucked in 1492, but all my allies, what it do? Renegade got clipped for days, be careful, I advise you to. Yeah, my tribe of opera mind, so what's happening? Government and all y'all cross the line, so what's happening? My ancestors wouldn't like you cross the line, so what's happening? We original, y'all GMO, y'all lying. I do this for my
hit hard like Spence on the speed.
my niche, my niche. I do this for my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche, my niche. I do this for my niche.
hit hard like Spence on the speed bag. I blow his legs off, he gon' need a knee tag. You niggas sound worse than Eminem on relapsing. That you ease past. Running your mouth while taking our culture. Treat this shit hit hard like Spence on a speed bag. I blow his legs off, he gon' need a knee tag. You niggas sound worse than Eminem on relapse. And Burner Boy, he's trash. You thought I was gonna let you ease past? Running your mouth while taking our culture. Treat this nigga like brisket and slow roast him. Roll up an Akon pack. I ain't ducking smoke, I just did hell and blow. I'm on demon time, then I got a hellish flow. Before this shit hit hard like Spence on the speed. This shit hit hard like Spence on the speed bag. This shit hit hard like Spence on the speed bag. This shit hit hard like Spence on the speed bag. I blow his legs off, he gon' need a knee tag. You niggas sound worse than Eminem on relapse. And Burner Boy, he's trash. You thought I was gonna let you ease past? Running your mouth while taking our culture. Treat this nigga like brisket and slow roast him. Roll up an Akon pack. I ain't ducking smoke, I just did hell and blow. I'm on demon time and I got a hellish flow. Before he's spiritual, I make them see the Holy Ghost. Let's bury these niggas and raise a toast to the Aborigines. That's from time immemorial. Tauntaun is from the soil. Every rhyme is that cook coke, that hard boil. My energy is unattainable. And for you $5 Indians, I might have to flame a few. Run up on the reds, you know what blazing through. Turn your gang into turtle soup. I aim for the head when I shoot. I take your top off like you do the coop. I took a drink from the fountain of truth. Now these bars is the burden of proof. They say the pen is mightier than the sword. So you gon' have to acknowledge the God. Drake Cobbs, I take your face off. My style is like cocaine raw. You gon' have to bow down to my jaguar paw. Or I'm coming like Leatherface with the chainsaw. I ride for my road dog like a new age outlaw. I do it to death like Chief Cornstalk. So fuck all your tough talk. You little pigeons can't fly with hawk. That'll get you outlined and chalk. It's a supreme being here to electrify your chakra. Who they think they better than? Ain't no comparison to the so-called black or African American. You can drop the African, keep the American. When we say Aborigine, it make the world end.
Yeah, you listening to Super Plays, let's go. Yeah, you listening to Super Plays, let's go.
DJ Super Blaze. Super Blaze. It's in the mix.
Who they think they better than? Ain't no comparison to the so-called black or African American. You can drop the African, keep the American. When we say Aborigine, it make the world end. Going in the same dirt my ancestors buried in. I come from a god and a goddess, so what that make me? Not even Basquiat can trace me. Not even Van Gogh can paint me. The MC in me is the God MC. Equals the God in me. I'm focused in, let my mind be free. You too blind to see. The Jews I give is real. It's been real. These ain't shots, they missiles. All you gonna hear is the whistle. Lyrically, this an execution. My verses start revolutions. For my people seeking restitution. Since the beginning, fuck evolution. Or maybe my reality is all a dream. I put it together like I was sowing seeds. So it seems this is that audio dopamine. Go against the machine. We put you where nobody can hear you scream. And sing you to meet your Elohim. My nigga, this is savage mode. It's something that you can't go. It started with a spark and I'ma let it explode. I was given the cheat codes that'll let me dump and reload. And go through them waves like a fucking torpedo. You dealt the cards of life. I just cut them diamonds with the ace of spades. Y'all scatter like roaches when they facing raid. Or vampires when they facing blade. I'm trying to get extra terrain like I'm getting played. You still stuck as a mental slave. You still stuck in that mental cage. While I'm making easy money, pipping holes in style. This my coming to age. Crowd roaring when I'm coming on stage. And when I'm done, they gonna be cheering my name. Drake Cobbs. And nah, I ain't quit my day job. I spit bars. I really rap on my day off. That's real shit. Just give you some tools you can build with. Aim high even if you still miss. Just keep going. It's a climb to the top. And I'ma keep flowing. Down Lake Shore, I'm Chicagoan. Yeah.
Tap in with us.
No wonder why you don't get this. No, you ain't cross your T's and you ain't dot your I's. We got some unfinished business. Nickel. Bang, bang. No wonder why you don't get this. No, you ain't cross your T's and you ain't dot your I's. We got some unfinished business. Nickel. Now come and take a look through my perspective. School of hard knocks and struggling was my elective. Shit was reckless, so I had to always cock the heckler. Put under pressure, so that's why the shells would get projected. My mind protected, I stay focused, boy, if you ain't noticed. When it come to my thoughts, I'm an S63, you just a Lotus. Your brain's small and compacted, that's why you contracted to a big-ass record label where the pay's lacking. But you ain't know that, too late to go back. I'm at the end of Roy G. Biv, where to go at. I paint the picture, you can keep the Kodak. My cherry hit awaits, I think it's time for me to go back to the realm, building with supreme beings. Trying to build my mind and see what the Almighty seeing. Dark should come to light, so ain't no way that you can play us. I'm turning in my black fez for the Uranus. Nigga, no wonder why you don't get this. No, you ain't cross your T's and you ain't dot your I's. We got some unfinished business. No wonder why you don't get this. No, you ain't cross your T's and you ain't dot your I's. Got some unfinished business.
You heard me? Yeah.
They try so hard to keep it blind.
So hard.
God, I can see the light.
Shit.
Wanna keep me in the dark.
Huh?
You can see me shining bright.
Now
come and take a look through my dimension. A young God, I just came down from my ascension. Protect the 12, guessing I just lost prevention. The type of things I'm seeing, guessing that I shouldn't mention. If I don't talk, then I believe in you up in the dark. Hate shaking up and saying that they use the heart. I'm thinking, what's the motive? Killing parts of mankind. The type of shit that make me blow up like a landmine. So I can let my thoughts and build it with supreme beings. Trying to build my mind and see what the Almighty seeing. The dark should come to light, so ain't no way that you can play us. I'm turning in my black fez for the Uranus.
Tap in.
No wonder why you don't get this.
Pull up. I see why you don't get this. You ain't cross your T's or dot your I's. We got some unfinished business. You heard me? Shut up, my man, Mike Ether. Easy. Nigga. Yeah. That was fire. You know what I'm saying? You know, I was on iTunes too. You know what I'm saying? Through the campaign forever. You got to be Pacific. So through the campaign forever, you search that out, it'll pop up. You know what I'm saying? The album. Shout out to Trey Trendsetter, my boy Mike Ether. You heard me? Little bro. At the same time, it's your boy Mac Ether. Shout out to God of Green. Super Blaze, Baron Pete, Firebird, the whole Thomas Party. You already know what it is. Maroonville. You know what I'm saying? There's some people popping. I'm letting you know some things going on. Shout out to Monte, Tecumseh, OP. You know what I'm saying? 9 Ether. Shout out to Trail with all the artwork you see on the website. You feel me? Something like, especially that one right there. That shit's so hard. Shout out to Trail. He been putting in work. You got to give him a shout out. You know what I'm saying? Because I know we be flying, but all this is a collective move that's taking place to be gathered in one place. You know what I mean? For real. And the news, Monte been turning up with the news. I hope we're going to show a couple of joints. Y'all been tapping into that. Obviously, you know, we done tapped into TikTok. Finally, we crossed over to TikTok. we older. We took a little time to catch on and understand how to work it and shit like that. You hear me? But we working it out. You know what I mean? All platforms. We working it out. We getting up. And shout out to everybody that's supporting, liking, sharing, leaving comments, good and bad, whatever it is. We want your feedback. You heard me? Because the heart's reality is live life autonomously. You know what I'm saying? So what we tap into autonomous party and what we doing, you already know what it is. From the ancient days. You see that one right there, the full trail though. You know, I ain't gonna lie, I had my hands on that one right there. You know what I mean? I put a little, some tribal shit, a little mixture of everything in that bad boy. The Merkle boss, some people call it the Star of David. But anyways though, yeah, but pull up though. Matter of fact, ladies, before you close out, let me get that black jacket because Monte did the news and he got his new joint he been doing and the melanation. Let me get that melanation, man. That melanation is, because we're gonna be talking about delineation and melanation is something that we need to be getting more education about. You did, yeah, bars. Give me that tap in when you let me know. And obviously right now, I see you on Facebook. If you want the news that we push out, what we share, it's right there. You go click to our Facebook page that we got with all the information for all the different things we share from the community. You know what I mean? Tap in with us. Tap in with us. Let's go. Come on. Every day. What do you say? What do you say?
Every day I wake, I make my mind up.
Every day.
I'ma be the one, be the truth, be the way. Yeah. Every day I wake, I make my mind up.
Got to.
Gotta keep my mind on the.
Come on.
They only telling they side of the story. Out here telling lies like they on more it and poor rich kids get their money off on it.
All right.
Down here in the hood, yeah, we know.
Stop. No, I'm fine. Bring it back. I just want you to bring it back. Start from the beginning. That shit's so hard. Give me one more time with that. I just need the first verse. Turn up.
Every day I wake, I make my mind up.
Come on.
I'ma be the one, be the truth, be the way. Yeah.
Come on.
Every day I wake, I make my mind up.
Make your mind up, dude.
My mind on the. Because they
Let
only
go.
telling they side of the story. Out here telling lies like they on more it and poor rich kids get their money off on it. But down here in the hood, yeah, we know forex. We growing up, yeah, we got the goods. Good of them assets, good of my back.
Hey.
Before the whole market crash. A news flash. It's a blast from the past. We don't smash it. Be prepared to hit the gas.
Feel the land, the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, it's a game of elevation. Alright, we the vibe, blood out, and we travel.
Uh-oh.
Blood out, and we travel.
Blaze.
What is it? Feeling like a Cyrus.
Pull up. Lord, campaign mix, man. You gotta tap in early with Blaze, man. The Mix Cloud. Go to our YouTube. It's at the bottom. We're not YouTube. See, I gotta get it right. We on YouTube. Mix Cloud. You know what I'm saying? And musicmedialounge.com. You can catch us there from 8 to 9 o'clock in the mix. The campaign mix, going 4 years strong. Before we even got on YouTube, we've been doing this mix. You know what I'm talking about? People don't know about that. Shout out to Blaze, the Music Media Lounge. You know what I mean? By the way, us obviously, the harsh reality is live life autonomously. The campaign, the autonomous party. You already know what it is. Essa Lucy, I'm Macario. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Love on Purpose. Everybody in the chat. Everybody that's gonna pull up for us live and even afterwards. Look at how we do it. You know what I mean? It's 954-561-305. Jazz in the Gardens is popping this weekend in our local area. They would say. You know what I mean? And it's popping. I seen one of my RAs from college days. He's blown up. He's on 99 Jams. He was doing the City Boy slide. You know what I mean? They got him. I seen you, DJ Nasty though. I seen you though. Shout out to you. You know what I mean? Been in the game a long time. But we gonna get busy though. You know what I'm saying? Cause we live. I obviously gotta give a shout out to my man Teddy T too. He's been in the game a long time. I gotta give a shout out for that. You know what I mean? Radio people that's been doing their things and been around that long. Like niggas might say that like dinosaurs. Nigga, y'all still doing this thing? For real. For sure, shout out to them. Jazz in the Gardens for those who was in town. Spring break has started, as they would say. You know what I mean? It's almost there. We're not to what they call the spring equinox yet, but we counting down the weeks. You know what I'm saying? We might have about what the day is, about 11 days. You know what I'm talking about? But either way though, we got our guests pulled up. Any of our guests pulled up for the panel conversation we're gonna have about the title and everything. And shout out to all the ladies and gentlemen that's with us. You heard me? By the way, Moronita to you. Yeah. What up, Nine?
Yo, you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
What's good?
Making sure you good.
What's beautiful out here?
Man, we chilling, man. You at the party, so everybody else should know. Now I need to by now. We got a lot of shit coming with you too. Your content about to hit. You know what I'm saying? When they hit, they're gonna be like, oh my gosh. So people gonna have to get used to knowing who Nine Ether is. The Ethers. You know what I mean? Shout out to Master Ether, Aboriginal Wall Street. You know what I mean? The Ethers. You know what I'm saying? We got Ether. Over here. It's nothing but Ether over here. You know what I'm saying? Now on the Essa Lucy side of things, number Ether. But before we get into shit, I know we got the joint. We got to play the Maroon J joint, y'all. We just want to make sure everybody get a chance to come on in and gather with us. You know what I mean? We're gonna play this Maroon J and be right back with y'all. Tap in with us.
This could take quite a bit of time.
Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me.
Hold on. Bring it back. Bring it back. We're gonna bring that back. Hold on. We want y'all to see the full screen of this. You know what I mean? You gotta make sure you get the full joint. Hold on. We wouldn't let us pull up the way we wanted to. We got us caught up on our screen. I gotta let you get this work. It's all good. Patience is a virtue. It's part of my autonomy. Part of that patience is a virtue. There we go. Tap in.
This could take quite a bit of time.
Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces. How the fuck you bummy and broke but a pale racist? My lineage free people of color with a left make each nigga. This right here maroon, now it ain't burgundy. If you plotting murder, I'm certain that you'll need surgery. Hurt from when the burner squeeze. Protecting tribe business. Only consulting with governments, tribe to tribe with it. Please don't confuse us with those considered native. Semi-autonomy never was in our nature. Just address me as Esther Lusty. Wild Indian status and Cherokees riding broochies. In my war bonnet, if you want it, bring it to your region. And black forces the same color the European. Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces.
Aborigines, which means what? Black folks. You never find a white aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines, but you don't like to be called an aborigine.
Every time I hear it. Every time. It never gets old. Hope y'all tapped in. I'm going to show you some of the work that's been laid out. You know what I mean? We get into the deep conversation of the you know what I mean, of the show. Cotton 09 got something to drop on y'all. We're going to walk it into it. You know what I'm saying? Last week we had Lee Cummins with us. And obviously, he had disruption. We try and, hopefully if everything work out, we think maybe Tuesday we might be able to try to give a little more information about his class session, maybe on an exclusive situation on another day. So look out for that. Hopefully it works out. At the same time, shout out to him though for coming and all the stuff you've seen on our platform that we've done with him over the years. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we got some work. You know what I mean? I want to highlight some since the last joint show Malcolm. You know what I mean? The last joint he got the last one show Malcolm. Well, Monte, shout out to Monte. You know what I'm saying? He got this joint highlighting Malcolm. But we're gonna go straight into it. Tap in.
So instead of legislation, in my opinion, it takes education. The whites have to be re-educated so that the racism that they have in their heart can be eliminated, and our people have to be re-educated so that we will know how to do something for ourselves instead of waiting for others to do it for us all the time. Well, how will that re-education be brought about? Well, just as in World War II, this country could use its news media to propagandize and make the whole American public love the Germans and the Japanese, rather love the Russians and the Chinese and hate the Germans and the Japanese. And then after the war, they changed it and made the American public love the Germans and love the Japanese, hate the Russians and hate the Chinese, which shows that they can make the American public love whom they will and hate whom they will. And that same process can be used to re-educate the American public and show white people how to love black people and show black people how to do something to stand on our own feet and solve our own problems.
Peace to the party, peace to the party. So you can tell right off the bat what's the mission for the day. All right. So we got started with this with the news. And I don't think that for a lot of the new subscribers don't understand why we chose to do this. All right. So Media is very powerful. As you can hear, that's Malcolm X speaking back in the day, talking about the power within media, the black versus white, Democrat versus Republican, liberal versus the conservative. None of this is new, right? However, people really depend on their media sources. And I'm pretty sure every one of us knows somebody that whatever comes on the news, they believe it to be 100% fact. We can use, what just happened with the C-19 as a recent example, right? Let's just keep it real, right? The media had people shook, but that's just another version of what we already know to be true, all right? So with that being said, we're going to double down on that, and we're going to spend a little time showing and proving how to be real, this goes so far back, but I ain't here to give you a history lesson today. I'm just your homeboy with the news, putting you up so you can go do your own research. But for those of y'all who are interested, on the Autonomous Party channel, every Sunday we have history builds and what we dig further into the truth, right? But for here on the news, I want to show y'all what the mission is behind us doing the media, right? Because it's long been a corruption in the media. And when I say media, I ain't just talking newspapers and the TV stations, right? It's way deeper than that. It goes to the music, right? It goes to the movies, the TV shows. All of this is in collaboration to be able to move and steer people in a certain direction. It's not black or white, it's all people, right? But we speaking from our community, we gonna double down and really see what that looks like. You know what I mean? So first things
first, I'm trying to tell you, shout out to Monte. You know what I'm saying? Media, you see, if you plug it in, he got the news coming. He's tapping in at least 3 times out the week, touching on topics. It's the campaign year, campaign 2024. You know what I'm saying? We're going to put shorts out of all these things, asking questions about things going on in society right now and how we delineate and the things that's going on in your local areas and stuff like that we might find interesting. So you never know. You might want to send us some stuff. You can, like you said, we showed you earlier, you go to Maroonville on Facebook. That's where we shared. That's where our news that we share publicly goes out. You know what I'm saying? On Facebook wise, on the daily, usually we'll be finding interesting in historical things, etc. So look out for more stuff going there, definitely. At the same time, though, when you plug into the information, anything you find is interesting, definitely plug it in once you tap into the channel and what we're doing, and see if we can share it out if it's something interesting to put out in the news that people might not know about. You feel me? So we can be from our community standpoint of putting out real-time stuff that's happening in the local areas where you from. You know what I mean? Shout out to all my people. Let's get another joint real quick. And shout out to Nine once again. We're gonna go in 1 second. Just gotta, we got a lot of new stuff. I want shout out to Opie. You know what I'm saying? So Opie got a lot of new stuff coming right now too. And I want to make sure this right here gets plugged in. Tap in.
I'm Opie Mija. So when you're starting out with your genealogy, the one thing you want to do is you want to start with yourself. So begin your research by gathering information about yourself and your immediate family. Document important details such as birth dates, places of birth, and any known family members. Also, you want to make sure that you talk to your elders. Talk to, if you're lucky to still have your great-grandparents around, talk to them, your own grandparents, find out the stories, that have been passed down to them about who your people are. Also talk to, your own parents, your aunts and uncles, all those types of people. And this has been Tracing Your Roots Ancestry Research Tips. Bill.
Quick tips. I mean, he got the whole joint though. You got to go watch the whole series. There's a playlist for that, right, guys? Right on our channel. You can go to the Autonomous Party on YouTube and watch all the genealogy he's done. Shout out to Opie once again. But we're putting out shorts because I think that's the only way we're going to get people to get it. Then maybe you want to watch the whole thing and get the tips and fullity of what he's put out. So shout out to Opie Mija. You know what I mean? Iconic Americans, you know what I mean? On TikTok and all other things too, right? He getting busy on TikTok for he been doing his thing. So shout out to Opie Mija. You know what I mean? The Autonomous Party. You know, genealogy department, he been doing his thing. Shout out to God Green too. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and 9 ether, obviously. You know what I'm saying? And everybody else in the genealogy side of what we're gonna be talking about some of that later on tonight. Some tips. Since we use the tips, we're gonna show you the tips. 9 ether gonna give you an example. Real time with somebody you might find popular. Some people might have voted for. What is the pearls and converses? Chucks and pearls. Chucks and pearls. Let me stop playing. No, for real though. So yeah, tap in, man. What else we got before I go in? It's just we go straight to the source, right? All right. So delineation, though. I want to show a couple things real quick. Did you get delineation for me? I want to show delineation real quick first. The word that we kind of use and people using in today's time. So we like to highlight these words. So when we read over certain things, it kind of correlate to what you might see. You know what I mean? Just in case you didn't know, no benefit of doubt, just left out there so everybody can be on the same page, right? It says in 1550s to mark out in lines from Latin, it says delineatus past particle of delineer. Delineer. Did I say that right, guy? That's the best you go. Delineer. Okay, to sketch out from day completely. You see again, it says again, linear. All right, draw lines. Linear. That's what I think. Anyways, for linear line, very specific. But then in 1600, from 1600 century, it says as represent pictorial, and then 1610s, interesting, as described, represent to the mind or understanding, portray in words, related in a delineated. When it comes down now. You see what happened here. It says the act or depicted. You know what I'm saying? It really gets, just you can use the word delineate. Like I'm gonna delineate from them people that's wilding out over there because I'm calm. You know what I'm saying? And you can see when the people pull out, they're gonna see, oh wait, them people were calm and them people were wilding out. They're gonna delineate. That's a good way of saying that, right? And draw a line between what's going on, right? Well, lawfully, I think they delineated too, right? So, what do you think now, based off of how the term just lays out? Some people use the word delineate, delineation. You know what I'm saying? What you think about this word here before we move on?
You said enough. You on point with it. It's the representative description.
Representation. You see right here though. Representation, description, a native formation from delineate. So you're distincting yourself from a group or another. Like how we moving over here and what they doing over there. Feel me? So look, underneath the free people of color, people could be delineating still socially within the lines of society, right?
Facts.
Being that there's free people of color, there's free white people, you know what I'm saying? And there's other people who are not in that position, but the people that were color are still delineating themselves from what they would call the slave class. You know what I mean? Those who have to work for somebody type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like we do it today, don't we? Delineate from rich to poor to middle class.
Facts.
Okay. Classism. You heard me? Well, class is in session. You heard me? Like, I guess that's the word that I want to just point out. We can go to the next joint though. I just want, because I just want to walk this down before you even go and show certain things back to the genealogy side that, I know you got for us tonight with the current individuals in politics and how this all works and plays a role in what we were trying to break down for the folks. Because last week, even though Lee Cummings did fall off, I was talking about mulatto, right? So it was on my mind. I ain't gonna front, it was heavy on my mind. I feel like I wanted to do it. Even I knew he was going to stay with for an hour, but I'm like, so after this hour, shit, I'm gonna go ahead and shoot my shot for the last 30 minutes. But at the same time, I got a little more extra time. However, person of color, you can slide down, guy. Where it says the term person of color, or persons of color. Now you can also go look up this same word and put free in front of it, free person of color. And usually would show you a picture with some ladies of color. You know what I mean? Some looking like they're well dressed and some look like they might be working for them. However, in the same situation, that's where you see that word of Frenchie, by the way. But still, it's primarily used to describe any person who is not considered white. In its current meaning, the term originated in and is primarily associated with the United States. However, since 2010, it has been adopted elsewhere in the Anglosphere, often as person of color, including relatively limited usage in the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, Ireland, South Africa, and Singapore. In the United States, the term is involved in the various definitions of non-whiteness, including African Americans, Asian Americans, Native Americans, Pacific Islander Americans, multiracial Americans, interesting, multiracial Americans, and some Latino Americans. Though members of these communities may prefer, I like this part, may prefer to view themselves through their cultural identities rather than color-related terminologies. Before I keep reading, would you say right there, that last line right there, that means that these people are delineating within people of
Definitely.
color?
Yes, they depicting themselves.
Right. But they know, you see how they know though that culturally they're different identities, but they still have this color-related terminology. You see what I'm saying? That they
And
all have in common.
More in a status too.
Right. Matter of fact, it's going to go right after this. Is the term as used in the United States emphasizes common experiences in systematic racism, which some communities have faced. The term may also be used with other collective categories of people, such as communities of color, men of color, women of color, and this is the Liberians. I always mess the word up. Liberians. I don't even. I guess it's very interesting. Every time I be thinking about like something like liberty or something. But at the end of the day, let me get a little bit of that. Oh, you know, poured the whole thing. I ain't had no brown in a minute. Let me get a little bit of that. Let me get just a little bit right now. That's what I said. I'll go. Either way, though, it's right after that. How have you, Liberians of color? The acronym BIPOC, we were talking about this earlier, right? BIPOC refers to Black, Indigenous, and other people of color, and aims to emphasize the historic oppression of Black and Indigenous people. The term colored was originally equivalent in use to the term person of color in American English, but usage of the appellation colored in the southern United States gradually came to be restricted to Negroes. You see me? Okay, now me and you done did the whole series on the Negro. Shout out to you. Feel me? You shot a lot of shots up in that series right there, boy. You put shots up on the board. I don't know what to tell people. Got to look at the board to see the scope. But yeah, and is now considered a racial pejorative. Elsewhere in the world and in other dialects of English, the term may have entirely different connotations. However, for example, in South Africa, colors. You remember that movie back in the day? Colors. Let me stop playing. Refers to multiracial ethnic groups and is sometimes applied to other groups in Southern Africa, such as the Basters in Namibia. That's how I'm gonna say that word right there. So at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, you know, go down. I said it already. I don't gotta say it again. I think the history part, right? Now it kind of get interesting. Stop right there too. Because mulatto, because we talked about mulatto last week. So I think this whole kind of part dealing with the people of color and certain things that people might not know, you did know, will hang in there. The American Heritage Guide of Contemporary Usage and Style cites usage of people of color as far as back as 1796. It was initially used to refer to light-skinned people of mixed African and European heritage. French colonists used the term gens de couleur, which is also a Frenchie, and people of color to refer to people of mixed African and European ancestry who were freed from slavery in the Americas. In South Carolina and other parts of Deep South, this term was used to distinguish between slaves who were mostly Black or Negro and free people who were primarily mulatto or mixed race. After the American Civil War, color was used as a label almost exclusively for Black Americans. But the term eventually fell out of favor by the mid 20th century. I remember because, you know, I don't know what they were called. We in the 20th century, right, y'all? Am I tripping? 21st, right? 21st. All right. So in the 21st century, I literally recently, during the politics of like 4 years ago on Facebook, somebody, I ain't gonna call his name out, they were talking about all the politics and stuff like that with the, you know, Biden and the Trump and all that stuff, right? And they were saying African American. And I was like, and I'm like, well, what you thought Trump was talking about when he said you got to remember your history. He was talking about before you were called African American, dealing with the time frame of what he can go back to with the census at least, and show that even from that time frame, what was going on in America's culture and what colored folk, Negroes, free Negroes, and enslaved Negroes went through in this evolution of American history. You know what I'm saying? What y'all think? Am I tripping? They don't look like Indians to me.
Nah, you ain't tripping.
Okay, don't make a show now. Slide up real quick though. We're gonna get a little quick part about Martin Luther King, because I know this man right here always get brought up in everything. See, because he was touching everything. See, so when it says, although American activist Martin Luther King Jr. used the term citizens of color. See, I don't know if anybody knew that. Did you know that now? That he used the term citizens of color? He didn't say African Americans. He didn't call themselves, you know what I mean? You see what he's using? He used this term.
Yeah, I never heard him use that.
I thought that was interesting too. That's why I'm putting it out there for folks. Somebody can go research that right there. See, colored folk at that time frame, 1963. The phrase the phrase in its current meaning did not catch on until 1970s. It's just in the late 20th century, the term person of color was introduced in the United States in order to counter the condensation implied by the terms non-white and minority, and racial justice activists in the U.S. influenced by radical theorists such as Frantz Fanon popularized it at this time. By the late 1980s, the early 1990s, it was a wide circulation. Both anti-racist activists and academics sought to move the understanding of race beyond the black and white dichotomy then prevalent. You know what I'm saying? It's just the phrase woman of color was developed and introduced for a wide use by a group of black women activists at the National Women's Conference in 1977. The phrase was used as a method of communicating solidarity, keeping it solid, between non-white women. That was, according to Loretta Ross, not based on biological destiny, but instead a political act of naming themselves. Are they not delineating?
They're delineating.
Or they're delineating. But I see that word color, though, is being used. You see what I'm saying? Throughout this time frame. You feel me? I mean, folks, I got my people's word live. They call themselves color. You feel me? Color correlated to being black, Negro. You know what I'm saying? By this time frame, going into the 1960s. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. By that time frame. I mean, just to keep the political understanding of who they talk about. You know what I'm saying? So we won't get that confused. However, go down a little more. He's going to use this word delineate in the next part. We're going to keep sliding. There's a little more. You can slide slow if they want to see that right there, just in case. You know what I mean? Okay, we'll keep it moving. They go into this acronym BIPOC, which is dealing with the actual time frame of 2013. It says, which is way later. See, so see how earlier it was showing, got agreeing that the folk, mulattoes, which means they were indigenous, and they also Negroes would be in that class, no matter what, would be the colored class. You see what I'm saying? So the BIPOC, which is an acronym that they came up with in 2013, is showing that's connected to a particular organization. You know what I mean? It's being used to give you their kind of historical connection to this phrase and what they're doing as a project. So now we're going to slide down to political significance. You know what I mean? Now, the next part right here, that's where they use the delineate. We're going to keep it moving. This is according to Stephen Satchers of Clinton University in the United States, there are two main racial divides. The first is the black-white delineation. The second racial delineation is one between whites and everyone else. The whites being narrowly construed and everyone else being called people of color. Because the term people of color includes vastly different people with only the common distinction of not being white, it draws attention to the perceived fundamental role of racialization in the United States. Joshua Tooman of San Francisco State University argues that the term people of color is attractive because it unites disparate racial and ethnic groups into a larger collective of solidarity with one another. What you think now? And we're going to slide from this one, guy. We're good. I just wanted to get that delineation part, but then this person of color thing. I hope everybody else got it.
Yeah, 1,000,000% on point. There's no expounding needed.
I mean, because, this is the category that on the census, right? Feel me? It's going to be used. in the jurisdiction. Feel me? Maybe people might not catch that. In the jurisdiction. United States development. You know what I mean? From 1790 going into 1865, the jurisdiction, and then from even after that going into 1960s, even in the 1970s, even in the 1980s. You know what I mean? This term colored, free person of color, you know what I'm saying? Also correlate to being black, you know what I mean? On most people's documents, you know what I'm saying? Would you agree with that too? Because I want to make sure I ain't tripping Negroes.
We agree. Keep cooking.
Okay, for sure. It slide on in. Keep it sliding, God. You know what I mean? You know, so I want to just show this real quick too. So just or, you know what I mean, fixing color line. The mulatto, Southern courts, you know what I mean? Racial identity. I just want to give it a quick shout out as a source for this delineation of indigenous people underneath the people of color term that was used that later became black and Negro, you know, mulatto, right? So you can slide down a little bit, guy. I don't know if you can make it a little bit bigger for the folk. There's only one little quick little clip as an example. You know what I'm saying? This is an example. You know what I'm saying? Everybody fits into this narrative of how you got labeled free people of color. But hey, in July 1857, Abby Guy sued for her freedom and that her 4 children in an Arkansas court, the court records state that Abby Guy had been supporting herself and her children by farming and selling her own crops. The Guy family passed as free persons. Abby's oldest daughter boarded out so that she could attend school, and the family visited among white folks and went to church, parties, etc., such that one. Should suppose they were white following these accounts of where and how the Guys lived. The court required that the family be presented for physical inspection by the jury, which was to base its decision of whether Abby Guy and her children were black or white, slave or free, on this appearance, as well as on any testimony offered. Here, the plaintiff were personally presented in court, and the judge informed the jury that they should treat their inspection of plaintiffs' persons as evidence following their evidentiary inspection of the Guy family. The jury was told that the Guys had lived as free persons in Arkansas since 1844. And in 1855, they moved to Louisiana, where a Mr. Daniel took possession of them as slaves. Roughly 2 years later, claiming that Abby Guy came with him from Alabama to Arkansas as his slave. Witness for Daniel testified that Abby's mother, Polly, was said to have been a shade darker than Abby, such that they could not say whether Polly was of African or Indian extraction, determining Abby Guy's status and race solely according to her complexion, and that of her mother was complicated by the fact that neither woman's complexion was considered white, nor could they be said to be of either African or Native American descent. Consequently, the nature and degree of Abby Guy's otherness as, and it stops, I think, right there. I don't think it gives no more. You know what I'm saying? But that was a very interesting clip. You know what I mean? How they just like, what you think now? I know you might be not even know. With that, they ain't gonna give you no more though. That's all you're gonna get on that right there. But say the word mulatto though. Let me know if you hear me real quick. Because did you hear any of that?
No, I stepped away for a second.
Lord knows. Listen,
keep cooking, because I'm on point with what you're saying. We went over.
Okay, for sure.
I need to give you a little juice.
But it's this Abby Guy. This Abby Guy. It sounds like when I see this Abby Guy, it sounds like I'm talking like to a dude, but no, this is a surname. You know what I mean? The Guys. Wasn't there a basketball player? What's the last name, Guy? No, I'm tripping.
No,
I know the group. I'm thinking about Aaron Hall and know the group. Let's chill.
Jasmine Guy.
Let's settle down. What happened though? Jasmine Guy? Who's that? Actress. Okay.
No, you don't know who Jasmine Guy is?
No, I'm thinking about that dude from Denver back in the day. He had a surname Day. I'm messing this whole thing up. Trust me, I'm tripping. And I'm all over the place with that one. I'm thinking about, I don't know why. Something's, never mind. You won't get it. Take me down another road. Something I seen. So yeah, either way though, that was an interesting joint. Oh, you got more? You tapped in? Look, boy, you getting Inspector Gadget and shit here. I see you though. I ain't mad at you. Yeah, I know I couldn't. I don't know why it won't let me do it. It'd be mad at me. But I ain't gonna even, we gonna go to the next page. Cause I'll be finding little clips. I'm just going, this be tripping on me every time I try to do it. Okay, well, it says focus through their lens of blackness became the issue. In this case, investigating how black Abby Guy was, not how white or Indian became the first step in containing the threat she posed. A Dr. Newton was then called to testify on Abby Guy's behalf, and in an attempt to clarify racial distinctions, he cited additional bodily evidence that hair never becomes straight until after the third descent from the Negro. Woo! You know what he said?
Damn, I never heard that before.
The hair never becomes straight until after the third descent from the Negro. You know what I'm saying? That's 3 generations. Would that be like 3 generations in genealogy, right?
Facts.
Like that would be, yeah. So you see how you line that up? It says Daniel countered this testimony by introducing his father's will, which devised Abby as a Negro girl slave to his daughter. Bill of sale, 1825, conveying to him for $400 one Negro girl named Abby, 13 years old. Testimony apparently ended here. And the judge then gave the jury the following instructions. I ain't gonna, boy, this is heat, boy. Let me tell you something. You want to see a court case with a shit, huh? Mulattoes and Negroes, colored. You know what I'm saying?
I think she was actually Indian.
Yeah.
She was able to go back.
She was actually in another status, and she had to go. She could show that she had that family that's tied to the tribal situation, but because of whatever mixture, the mulatto, she's being deemed this because of whatever in that court jurisdiction. When it shows you how they went from Alabama to Arkansas. You see what I'm saying? Or was it the other way around? Arkansas to Alabama. Either way, I read it earlier. I can't remember right now. Okay, bet. Abby Guy. You know what I'm saying? I thought the name was very, you know what I mean? But I'm like, I ain't gonna be able to, this is the best source that I knew when they wouldn't tell me. I was tripping about it, but they wouldn't let me in all the way. Huh?
The guys are on that Free African American site.
Yeah, the Free African American site, the guys, the surname. Yeah, so genealogy matters. These people went in the court case and everything, talk about everything, you know what I mean? So, however, we can slide to the next joint, you know what I'm saying? I just wanted to give that as an example of what we were just showing people, like, show you an example. Show you why this thing gonna get complicated when you delineate. And if you delineate underneath, like right now, the status that they might have you in, because you know your cultural background is different from the political status of the jurisdiction you may be classified as, you know. This is how I think people are trying to run away from this right here, but you know, as they showed you in the historical thing, what was going on. But they got advertisement all over their page, ain't it? They said path to success, learn more. Lord. I'm going to slide down. You can't X out them bad boy? Well, a number of 18th century political and intellectual leaders began publicly to assert that the Africans were naturally inferior and that they were indeed the best suited for slavery. A few intellectuals revived an order, image, in all living things. The scala nature or nature, scale of nature, or the great chain of being, to demonstrate that nature or God had made men unequal. This ancient hierarchical paradigm encompassing all living creatures, starting with the simplest organisms and reaching to humans, angels, and ultimately to God, became for the advocates of slavery a perfect reflection of the realities of inequality that they had created. The physical differences of blacks and Indians became the symbols or markers of their status. It was during these times that the term race became widely used to denote the ranking and the inequality of these peoples. In other words, their placement on the chain of being. You ever heard of that before now? The chain of being?
Nah.
I always thought this was interesting too. See, I'm just putting some things out there. This is beginning in the 18th century. Differences between the races became magnified and exaggerated in the public mind. Hundreds of battles with the Indians have pushed these populations westward to the frontiers or regulated them increasingly to reservation lands. A widely accepted stereotype had grown that the Indian race was weak and would succumb to the advances of white civilizations so that these native peoples would no longer be much of a problem. Their deaths from disease and warfare were seen as a testament to the inevitable demise of the Indian. You know what I mean? You know how that works, right? Funny enough. Racial stereotyping, as they just did with that right there, African and magnified by the Haitian Rebellion in 1791. This is heightened by the American fear of slave revolts and retaliation, causing greater restrictions and even harsher and more degrading treatment. Grotesque descriptions of the low status races, blacks and Indians, were widely publicized and they helped foster fear and loathing. This negative stereotyping of low status and racial population was ever present in the public consciousness and it affected relations among all people. You heard me? Everybody was shook by the free people of color. You heard me? In some cases or another in the Americas going into the 18th century, 1790s, you see what I'm saying? Haiti and here, a Frenchie, you know what I'm saying? Je de color in the class systems in both of these colonies, you heard me? Even the United States one, you know what I mean? You slide, I want to put that out there too. You got a video, right? And then we're going to go, I think we almost did, oh no, wait no. Nah, a matter of fact, yeah, we can do the mulatto real quick. The mulatto and the American Indian. Well, I don't know if last week you caught this. So
Wait,
I'm going
I
to
thought you was doing the Kamala thing.
I'm about to bring you in. That's what I'm bringing you into.
No,
But I
I'm talking
wanted
about
this.
the video. The video.
Oh, the video's going to come first before we show
Oh,
it. Trust me. I just wanted to show this real quick. Highlight this from last week. We're going to keep it moving fast so we can get to it. This is 10 o'clock. It's right around that time. I want you to take off. But I want to show this from last week because this was interesting. Mulatto and the American Indian. You know, a lot of people that do their census, genealogy, and heritage are finding, you know what I mean, time frames, 1700s, 18th century, colonial and Alabama eras, American Indian and African American, like I said, Black and Indian, ancestry. The 1705 Virginia statute reads as follows. You know what I'm saying? Go down, slide down, guys. We're going to read this whole thing. No, I want that part right there, though, God. Go back up. I want that one part, because that's the part that really right there hit. That should touch home. Every time I see it, it touch home. It says, and for clearing all manner of doubts which hereafter may happen to arise upon the construction of this act or any other act, who shall be accounted a mulatto, be it enacted and declared, and it is hereby enacted and declared that the child of an Indian and the child, grandchild, or grandchild, great grandchild of a Negro. Now, what he just said in that other course, then with Abby Guy, didn't they just say that because of what 3 descents, right? It said 3 descents for the hair to go straight. So when that kind of correlate to what they saying right here about the Negro mixture being shown in the mulatto, the passport. I mean, I'm just great grandchild. That's 3, right? That's 3 descent, right? You see how that correlated to that? And then it showed it shall be deemed, accounted, held, and taken to be a mulatto, right? But now what the mulatto is felt, what class is the mulatto under? People of color. You see what I'm saying? Now some people might be literally mulatto, and some might not. You know what I mean? But still, that's the class you would have been in if you had the mixture or not in a case of jurisdiction. What you think about that now? I want that to correlate from earlier.
It's definitely correlating, and they played their games with that mulatto term from the 1600s to the 1700s to the 1800s. They kept playing with it and adding until they have all these, and everyone except, you know, in the people of color thing, whites.
That part. Yeah, that part. So yeah, I think that's why people need, you know, they fighting over this stuff, fighting over all this stuff, trying to fit into a class system. That's what we be seeing happen. You know what I mean? People are fighting today to fit in the class system. See what I'm saying? Or how they want to be called within the jurisdiction. And no, God, say that. Go to the next joint. You heard? I'm gonna do that right now. We can bring that back because I think they should know already about that right there. Let's go to this. Let's get to this right now. All right, now we're gonna play this clip real quick. And just like genealogy works with anything, recent anything, you know what I mean? I find this interesting in politics. But people maybe have a position dealing with blacks, particularly because of certain things you never know, right?
Do you support
Let's see what's up.
Black people? Well, listen. Again, we had over 200 years of slavery. We had Jim Crow for almost a century. We had legalized discrimination and segregation, and now we have segregation and discrimination that is not legal but still exists and is a barrier to progress. We have disparities around housing. We have disparities around education. We have disparities around income. And we have to recognize that everybody did not start out on an equal footing in this country. And in particular, Black people have not. And so we have got to recognize that and do something about that and give folks a lift up. That's why, for example, I'm proposing the LIFT Act. Give people who are making $100,000 or less as a family a tax credit, which will benefit and uplift 60% of Black families who are in poverty.
So by default, it affects Black families, but there's not a particular policy for African Americans that you would explore.
But no, if you look at the reality of who will benefit from certain policies, when you take into account that they're not starting at the same place and they're not starting on equal footing, it will directly benefit Black children, Black families, Black homeowners, because the disparities are so significant. So if we focus on the specific issues that have resulted in the greatest disparities, and we understand that that's part of why we're doing it. Listen, the reality also is this: any policy that will benefit Black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No, because whatever benefits that Black family will benefit that community and society as a whole and the country. Right?
Right. Well, nah, what you got to say? What you got to say? I know
She
you did your part.
Lane switching.
Uh-oh.
And the fact that she's saying anything that we do will benefit Black people. That LIFT Act for the people that's making under 100,000. Now, let me let you understand this. When you say people that's making less than 100,000 and you supposedly have only 60 million so-called Black people, and then you have 190 million so-called white people, you're going to have double the amount of white people that are in that bracket of 100,000 or less. You're going to have 100 million so-called white people in that bracket. Now you got these 50 million over here, us, when adulthood, meaning out of the 50-something million they say we have, you got to exclude 25 million almost in elderly and youth. So now the working class is at about 23 million the last I checked. Out of that 23 million, you have close to 20 million under that. So it's 20 million versus 100 million who will be applying for this. And it's just talking white and Black. We ain't talking Asian. Because the LIFT Act is for all Americans. So now redlining and red tape for whoever, we have a history of not being able to participate at the right level in certain situations. So her ducking that so-called thing, basically saying, I'm not going to do something just for Black people, but then turn around and say anything we do for Black people in the LIFT Act would benefit society in the whole. You're playing the red tape game and the registration game. Now we got to register for this LIFT Act, and you're going to have 200 million Americans or citizens applying. And like I said, we have 50-something million, but you can only count 20 something million that's in the age of 21 to 50 that's working. I can't hear you.
I'm just thinking to myself when you said it, like, yeah, that's completely the political narrative. You know what I mean? I remember some people recently, like a year ago, there were people, have you registered to vote? Well, if you ain't registered to vote, you can't sign this petition. But anyways, that part. Yeah. Go ahead, though. Keep running.
Let me share my screen just so we can get a context of what she's talking. Share screen. Tell me when you see it.
Good.
We good? Is it big enough?
I mean, I can see it, my cataracts, but for everybody else, I think it's good. Yeah.
Okay. Good. So now, when we're talking about her pandering and playing games, that video is when she just got into office.
Okay.
This is prior to that when she was running against Biden for the Democratic nod before she became his running mate. So in July 1st of 2019, right before she became his running mate, she was bashing him anyway. But it says, when will race baiting Kamala Harris acknowledge she's a descendant of a slave owner? So this is, like I said, July 1st, 2019, before that video, before she was his vice president, before she was even his running mate. Last week at the Democratic debate in Miami, presidential candidates Kamala Harris stirred up racial hornet's nest against former Vice President Joe Biden for his past pandering to segregationist senators decades ago. She stated, "I do not believe you are a racist, and I agree with you when you commit yourself to the importance of finding common ground," Harris said publicly, but chastising Biden as at last week's debate. "But it is personal and hurtful to hear you talk about reputations of two United States senators who built their reputation on the careers of segregation and race in this country." Harris's month in the making, made-for-TV attack on Biden is largely seen as an attempt to lure Black voters away from the Democratic frontrunner and to tarnish his image. To date, however, no one has asked Harris about her own Jamaican family tree, which reportedly goes back to Jamaican planter and slave owner Hamilton Brown. Earlier this year, Harris's father, Donald J. Harris, reportedly stated, "My roots go back within my lifetime to my paternal grandmother, Miss Chrissy Brown, descendant of Hamilton Brown, who was on record as a plantation and slave owner and founder of Brownstown in Jamaica."
Make that a little bit bigger. Hold on. Make that a little bit bigger. You make that a little bit bigger? Hold on now. I got brown. I'm brown. Why you gonna play with me like that? It's a surprise. I'm saying, talk shit. Yeah, but for real though.
Is it on the screen? You can see it?
Yeah, that's way better. Yeah, my cataract just kicked in real. Yeah, it's working.
Okay, so she's a descendant of Hamilton Brown, who is on record as a plantation slave owner and founder of Brownstown, which is in Jamaica. And to my maternal grandmother, Miss Iris Finnegan, farmer and educator from Aarontown. We're going to skip this because she's going into, but basically this is his statement that his family goes back to plantation owner, which is Hamilton Brown, which we're going to get into.
Wait a minute. Now, this is connected to Kamala Harris.
Oh yeah. We're going to show that right after I go through this little thing.
All right, here we go. All right.
If Kamala Harris's father's account of their genealogy is believed, Harris's family tree goes back to Hamilton Brown, one of the well-known slave owners in Jamaica. All right. So I just want to
Browns in Jamaica. I told them Browns in Jamaica. See, I told them Browns in Jamaica though. They ain't want to listen to me though. Shut up, bum McClyde. Go ahead though.
I'm going to share it again. Hold on, because I want to get to a genealogy. Present. Where we at? We're going to go. Could I hit? Hold on. Okay. Wait a minute. Gina, here we go. Hamilton Brown.
You ain't sharing your screen though.
Oh, I ain't share it? Oh,
Okay, no, I mean it's coming up now though. All right. So there you
okay.
go.
Let me go back. Hamilton Brown. All right. Ironhead Hamilton Brown, 1776. Antrim, Northern Ireland, United Kingdoms. He's father of Hamilton Brown Jr. that you see over here.
Lord.
Let's see if it, okay. His career, let's go to his career. His plantation in St. Anne's Parish, James Hawkwell's 1820. Brown began his career as an estate bookkeeper, but acquired significant land holdings and agricultural interests in the colony of Jamaica. He was a pen keeper, a cattle breeder, and was responsible for a large cattle fair. He had a cattle fair in Jamaica held in Pedro Plains in St. Elizabeth Parish in 1829. He also grew sugar and owned the Antrim, Colliston, Greer Park, and Minard plantations. He owned 6 plantations, all in St. Anne's, as well as having interest in numerous others. He gave his name to Browntown, Jamaica, originally known as Hamilton Town, which is his still name because his name is Hamilton Brown, in St. Anne's, which he founded. And in 1805, he paid for the construction of the original St. Mark's Angelic Church in Browntown. He was a member of the House of Assembly of Jamaica in the 1820s and represented St. Anne's Parish in the Assembly for 22 years. In 1832, he met Henry Whitley on the trip. Now, Whitley was against indentured servitude and slavery. So he met Henry Whitney. Whitney was sent from United Kingdom over here to chronologize and see what was really going on in the British colonies of Jamaica. Whitney on his trip to Jamaica, to whom he argued that Jamaican slaves were better off than the poor of England, and therefore the British government should not interfere with the way Jamaican planters managed their slaves. Whitney went on to witness harsh and arbitrary whippings of slaves at the plantation that he visited during his stay. According to the legacy of British slave owners at the University of College of London, Brown was awarded a payment as a slave trader in the aftermath of the Slavery Abolition Act 1833, which was just in the British colonies of the Caribbean. Nothing to do with the United States joint. But he was rewarded an indemnity suit, which is just insurance. Call them mini reparations. With the Slave Compensation Act of 1837, the British government, to pay these people in the Slave Compensation Act, to pay them, the British government took out a $15 million loan worth $1.43 billion in 2020, with interest from who? Nathan Mayer Rothschild and Moses Montefiore. You got a lot of Montefiore hospitals out here, which was subsequently paid off by the British taxpayers, ending in 2015. Brown was a prolific slave owner in the context of Jamaica society and was associated with a large number of claims, 25 in total. He owned over 1,100 slaves, most of them on sugar plantations in St. Anne Parish, and received 24,000, equivalent to 2.3 million in 2020 payment at the time.
God damn.
So now think about this. This is for those ADOS people and those Freeman people that they keep getting their pushback that, where's the money's going to come from? You see, in this particular situation, for the actual slave owner, the money came from the taxpayers of the government that let this thing go on in that situation. And then they use private bankers, the Rothschilds and Montefiores, to get this money and then levy that against the taxes. Now, that act was 1833. They just paid this off in 2015. Think about that for 1 second. That's over, what, almost,
That's
you could say 185 years to pay off the plantation owners of the Jamaican plantations and others in the Caribbeans and Barbados that were under the British government.
Oh, so 1837 and didn't get paid back until 2015?
So what's the interest? What's the interest on that?
Wait a second. Because you just said 180 years. And I'm like, well, okay, 67 or 63, that brings us to 1900. Then another 100 years, that brings us to 2000. So yeah, technically,
you might as well say no. Look at no. We in
time, yeah, you're right. You actually was real close.
Hold on, I did that wrong.
78 years.
It's 191. Hold on. Listen, it's 191 because in 2033 would be 100 years from the Abolition Act. 2033.
In 2033, it would be.
It would be 100 years. The Compensation Act is 1837, so 2037 is basically
200 years.
200 years right there.
So we're about 13 years off. That means technically that's 187. That's why I say it's 187 years. But no, from 2015, you see what I'm saying? It'd be like in the 70s. You know what I mean? 170 something, 170 something, whatever. Either way, it don't matter. That's a long time. That interest and everything got to be crazy too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It got to be crazy.
Interest,
you know what I mean?
The interest got to be hella crazy. 187 years worth of interest every year. They just paid that back.
That's crazy.
Now,
people died and everything, bro. People dead and all sorts of shit, bro. You're getting paid back in 2015 for that time frame. Talking about that's what. How you? That's like, man. Listen here.
And this is her fourth great grandfather, Hamilton Brown.
Hamilton Brown's tied to who? By the way, Kamala Harris.
Okay. So Brown was active in trying.
Make sure that people heard that. You hear me?
So, and we're gonna go through the genealogy right after this little piece. Brown was active in trying to recruit Irish people to work in Jamaica. In December 1835, 2 years after the abolition, 121 people from Ballymoney, Antrim, set off from Belfast for Jamaica on the James Ray, a brig owned by Brown. Okay, so he got his own ship. Got his own ship popping out there. And now what he's doing is trying to recruit some Irish from what we consider the southwest of Ireland to come in and fill the spot of the land. He's thinking about the land and not letting these newly freed indentured servants and slaves get this land. They settled in St. Anne's. In 1836, he brought further 185 Irish people to St. Anne's, an effort by the planters in 1840 to encourage large-scale Irish migration to Jamaica to settle these lands that might otherwise be occupied by newly free slaves. This failed after the project was criticized by Ireland as potentially making slaves of their migrants.
Lord.
So now he passed away and left this land to his son, which we're going to get into right now. Let me stop this screen real quick.
Crazy.
Share it again. Go back to this genealogy. We're going to go back to this genealogy.
The history behind stuff, people be trying to lump everybody into one thing. You see what's going on? That's why she know her shit probably, you know what I'm saying? She like, we ain't about to do all that. Now, look, we can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Look what my people done did. Shame on you. Shame the devil. Tell the truth.
So Hamilton Brown up here had a son, Hamilton Brown Jr. We're going to hit him. And this is the white boy. Very interesting about this dude. Of course, they say he had a farm in Pedro St. Anne's because his father left him the farm. But check his wife's status. We're going to go down here real quick. Where's it at? Oh, it's not on here. Okay, we'll catch it on there.
Wife's right there, right? Immediate family? Wife?
Let me see her status. Hold on.
That's the daughter.
Oh, no, that's the daughter.
Mary Melvina Brown.
Okay, Melvina Brown. Melvina Brown, wife of Hamilton, is listed as what?
White.
In the baptism records, right? I just wanted to show that for 1 second, just to, that's the wife. And here go the daughter. So you got a white guy, you seen his picture. The wife is basically saying she's white in the records, and here go the daughter. She got the 3-wave afro trying to pat down.
What? That's a serious fro right there, though, boy.
Serious
she got the
3-part.
part. How she got the part? How she got the part like that, though? My bad.
She got the 3-part fur going on. So now, when you look at the daughter, you're gonna go to her kids. This kid right here, she's the mother of May Harris, Regina Victor Harris, Vera Harris, Oscar Joseph. You hit Oscar Joseph, and this is Harris's grandfather. Now he's born. Notice where they all born at. St. Anne's Parish. The land is still in the family. So they're all born in St. Anne's Parish. And we're going to go to his son because he's the father of who? Kamala Harris's father. Here he goes. Check where he's born. St. Andrew's Parish, which is adjacent to St. Anne's because Hamilton Brown had 6 plantations. So that's where he's born. Now this is who? You see her name here? Kamala Harris. We see the same roots that I started with. My roots go back within my family to my paternal mother, Christina Brown, who got the 3-part afro. So we see, that family's lineage.
That's deep. That did, though. I ain't gonna front. Like, even on anybody's situation. I don't disrespect nobody's lineage, you know what I'm saying?
So then you get the only difference is that if you see over here, he second. This is his second wife, Bella Harris from Jamaica.
That's what I was thinking. When I saw Harris, I was throwing me for a minute. I was like, damn, I see Bella Harris though. But I'm like, now it makes sense for you to show me how that.
This is his first wife. This is his first wife, which is Kamala's mother, who was born in India. So that's where she gets her East Indian roots. Yeah, she gets her Indian roots from her. She has her Jamaican roots from Chrissy, who has Irish roots from Hamilton Brown.
Look at that connection.
And remember, they got married in Jamaica. You understand?
Right.
It's his first wife. She just came over to America and supposedly born in America. So Kamala's born. Everyone else is born in Jamaica in the parishes.
That's crazy, right? Her history coming from the island. You know what I mean? Straight up.
And then
first generation. I mean, she's the first generation then.
Yeah, first generation. America, the great country of America.
Right?
You could be a first generation vice president.
Yeah, that's crazy, ain't that? They making history, right? First Black American, Obama, they say.
But Obama has history, right? He's the first generation, supposedly.
He's the first generation.
But the mother side goes back to America.
Another side of America. They don't fit into the pre-people of color conversation, but yeah, they out of America. Yeah. Okay. So but see, when she made that statement though, wouldn't that go right back to why she would not relate to this reparation thing, that people that are going with the narrative that everybody that was of Black in America underneath the free people of color records we can find were all slaves, when there's clear distinctions, like her own family, she can go back to show that not everybody was all in what they're painting the picture of slavery to be in this narrative of reparations.
Yeah, because you see 3 of those generations are living off the first generation, Hamilton Brown. So they become doctors. They already have their bootstraps. They're already good. They got good soil. How did Martin Luther King said, undergird the poor white peasants from Europe with an economic flaw? They already have their economic flaw in their family through Hamilton that's on the screen. So why wouldn't she? Because of families in that. And this is really for those.
He got way more niggas than when that picture showing, bro.
Say that again?
No, gotta really say Hamilton got some nigga in him. I'm like, he got way more nigga than
Oh
I
yeah,
think he
yeah, yeah.
thought.
I really think he's a mulatto, but you
He
don't
look,
want
he definitely a
you
mulatto.
don't want to put him as a mulatto because his birth is what? Ireland, so you don't want to show that there's black Irish.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You don't want to
That's
show
what
that
that
there's
is.
black Irish, so you can't, but they're basically marrying in without a problem. Why are you not going to marry the white people? Now, a funny thing is they try to act like his wife in other records, because she's not on here, is a Igbo slave in Jamaica. So in another record, they say she probably was she was an Igbo slave, probably sent to America before 1833. Blah, 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 whatever the case may be. But it gets deeper. Why wouldn't she do? Her statement is, I'm not going to do something just for black people. Now, you see that she battled the so-called person who was upholding segregationist senators, Biden, until she became his running mate. So when she's against him, she's saying, yo, you quoting these segregationists when our people was basically in a messed up situation, even though she was never in that situation because her father grew up on the plantation, on the same lands that were plantations in 1833 of Hamilton Brown.
Shit, ain't that some shit? Shout out to them. Hey, I can't lie, some Browns, so I can't front. They always say Browns be doing big things. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
I'm gonna come back with this one though. Watch this. You can see the screen?
Not yet.
Hold up.
Not yet.
Okay, here we go.
You good though? I think it's coming. It's coming. There we go.
It's up there?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so now this is her partner in crime, the same person she was going against for his segregist ways, supposedly. Biden's ancestors own people too, so we're going to get into that. A genealogist who has conducted a sweeping look into President Biden's lineage says records show some of the Scranton, PA native ancestors and his father's side own enslaved people. Alexander Bannerman, who alongside presidential lineage expert Gary Boyd Roberts co-authored an article on Biden's ancestry for the winter 2021 issue of the New England Historical Genealogical
Society, American Ancestors Magazine. Gotcha.
Told Political that he came across the findings while looking at the census record for enslaved schedules in Maryland. According to Bannerman, in 1800 census showed that Biden's great-great-great-grandfather, Jesse Robinette, owned 2 enslaved people in Allegheny County, and another great-great-great-grandfather, Thomas Randall, had an enslaved 14-year-old boy. Well, they should say Negro boy, because I looked it up. It's on the 1850 census, in the slave census. In Baltimore County. The researcher also told Political that Randall and his family moved elsewhere in Baltimore County in 1860, at which point they owned a single male slave, according to the census records. The president has long highlighted his Irish roots from his mother's family and the Flanagans. So now you have these 2 people who are running this country, and our people are sitting here running around talking about HR 40, and they're trying to get this reparations for slavery. And you wonder why you can't get it on the floor for many reasons. But this is one of many reasons that you can't get it on the floor, because your vice president and your president has history that's only 3-4 generations past into the institution of enslaving the people of North, Central, and South America, and the so-called ones that came from Africa.
It's even crazy. We just said earlier, it said it took your children, your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren for the Negro hair to go straight. You know what I'm saying? So that would mean that in their context, the enslaved folk that they had, that they labeled Negro, Black, whatever, of color, in their areas of their ancestry that went back and had slaves, and they were labeled them. You know what I'm saying? In all positions. I think that's
Now,
very interesting, though. You know what I mean? That all correlates to what we're just got to talking about.
I got another one here that will expound on Brown Hamilton. Watch this. Where we at? This is going to expound on the situation. Here we go. George Wilson. Let's get George up here. Wilson Bridges. Tell me when you see it. Is it on there? Could you see it?
Yeah, you good. I got it now. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Hold on. Let me go back to it so I can read it. I can't read it on that screen.
What do you say? Reverend George Wilson Bridges?
Okay.
The writer and photographer right there?
Yeah, now look, this dude is, remember, it says Hamilton Brown was a bookkeeper at first. Okay, he was a bookkeeper for the Bridges family that was here. Now, the Bridge, Reverend George Wilson Bridge, was a writer, photography, angelic cleric. After eloping with his wife, he was director for the Jamaican parish of St. Dorothy until 1870, and then Manchester from 1817 to 1823. He moved and became director of the neighboring parish of St. Anne's, which is whose parish? Hamilton Brown. So he became director, the leading cleric of this area. He published works against William Wilberforce, who we spoke to earlier, who was sent by the British government to detail the harsh conditions of the Jamaican and Barbados plantations. So basically, he published works against him. And another book resulted in the London publisher being found guilty of libel, basically publishing works on lies against Louis Celeste and John E. Cofery. John E. Cofery attacked the one of the Hamilton plantations. So this dude, George Wilson, let's hit this dude, because these are, copper color brown dudes. Okay, Louis, also known as Louis Celeste, was an anti-slavery activist from the Caribbean islands. He was committed to improve the rights of the freemen of color, okay, because freemen of color in his memoirs were being forced onto the plantations as indentured workers and then slaves. So this dude, he's running around, he's a free person of color in the Caribbean, and he's an abolisher of what's going on. So he was arrested twice and transported for life from Jamaica. They banned him for life because of Mr. Williams' writings against him. So they banned him and his partners off the island. The case was taken up by a Frenchie. The case was taken up by Dr. Stevens, and he was compensated after successfully having the case reversed by the British government. So they had to go all the way to Britain, even though he was still banned for life, but he got compensation for that banning. He was an activist against slavery and attended the world's first anti-slavery convention. He named his son after a British member of parliament who had fought for his case. So that also shows you that how he gets banned from Jamaica. He goes to Britain. He gets with some people in the British government to review his case, because the cases ain't being heard in Jamaica. All these cases are being heard in Britain. So he goes over there at this time with 14 others. We ain't got time to go into everyone that was trying
14 others?
Yeah, he goes over there with 14 others, but the 14 others weren't banned for they were arrested and basically deported. They weren't legally banned through the court system. See, Lewis had to, him and his homie were banned, and they had to basically fight for their ban to be lifted so that they can come and basically come back and do what they do, but they never won their actual, and this is his other bro. Oh no, that's the same one. Hold up. Wait a minute, let's go back.
Make sure.
Okay, George Bridges. Here we go. John. Why are they going back to him though? Okay, they ain't got nothing on him. They let you hit him, but I guess he's in here. Yeah, they're not going to show him. They just listed him. There's nothing on him. But he put a habeas corpus in the Supreme Court of Jamaica. Louis Celeste and John E. Kofi were arrested on October 7, 1823. This is 10 years before the Abolition Act in Jamaica, under the Alien Act. So they was arrested under the Alien Act by a warrant from the Duke of Manchester, and the governor of Jamaica, William Burge, and Attorney General considered them to be dangerous characters. They were also considered to be aliens because of the claim that they were who? Haitians. Remember, this is at the same time at the Haitian
Let me see. That's a new song by Kodak. You know what I'm saying? Let me see.
Let me see. Haitians, luckily, they had the time to raise the habeas corpus in the Supreme Court of Jamaica. But they later on, they were banned from Jamaica.
A Frenchie.
Frenchie. So now, if we looking at the scope of the Hamilton Williams family and these people that were dealing with the situation in the Caribbean, particularly George Wilson, he was a reverend in this parish that Hamilton Brown owned, and basically they were running around and re-enslaving free people of color like Lewis, and Lewis was basically untouchable at that time, and he was on his dean and had his connections to put these habeas corpuses and different things into the court and fight until he was banned from the island because they weren't able to do what they were doing with people like him and his cohorts. That was,
They knew how to move. They knew how to
move. They were standing on their square.
They're like, nah, babe, we know the rights, bitch. Don't be playing with us. We know shit.
We know the rights. So to sum it up, we're looking at the video that you played when, why would I do something just for Black people? When I got the LIFT program to help everyone under that poverty line. When we know on all scales, governments were disenfranchising the Negroes.
As it showed.
Yeah.
Who particularly, no matter what, even throughout time, in the ethnogenesis of what happened when we read free people of color, the Negro one drop rule proves, you know what I mean? The same reason why we, as Lucian Macario, are delineating in a way to show that we know that Jim Crow laws were dealing with those, you know what I mean, of a certain nature they will call today Black, you know what I mean, in their system. So, Negro. Indigenous to America.
Disenfranchisement. And we know through the history that most of these things, like you got free people of color, like Lewis, who's out there and he's lobbying for certain conditions with the white boy that came over from the British government, who was basically chronicalizing, doing his own chronicles on the conditions of those workers. And a lot of them were going from indentured servants to slavery in the Caribbean. So now, as people look at their history, they say, oh, I'm a descendant of a slave, but that slave may have been an indentured servant prior to that, and then a free person of color prior to that. This is why genealogy is key to understanding your people and walking the walk, so that you can dispel the narrative of what was going on. The only narrative that can't be dispelled is the disenfranchisement in the Caribbean and in the Americas. In the Caribbean, they supposedly stopped it in 1833. In the Americas, they supposedly stopped it in 1865.
But they didn't.
But they didn't. And we know in the Americas, the situation was way different because you had way more free people of color operating prior to 1860.
1865.
And now they supposedly free people. And like Martin Luther King said, through an act of Congress, y'all was giving millions of acres to people that were just coming in. But if your plight was to free some people, why would you, knowing they're coming out as the bottom of the barrel, those people that you're freeing, and you give out 100+ million acres, 100 million acres from 1862.
What you doing? You know what I'm saying?
In 1866 Homestead Act, these two Homestead Acts,
right?
You gave out 100 million acres in the Americas. To who? Poor white peasants from Europe, to give them an economic floor. And you create us what? We coming out supposedly the situation bottom of the barrel with nowhere to go.
Citizens of color.
Frederick Douglass had a quote. I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't know the whole thing, but Frederick Douglass said the Emancipation Proclamation was freedom to the wind. It was freedom to the rain. It was freedom without a roof to cover your head. It was freedom without land. It was freedom and famine at the very same time. This is Frederick Douglass in 1867. Martin Luther King used that part of that speech in his speech, The Other America, which he
the other
America, when he was showing two Americas in his last walk in that 1867 to 1868 when he was killed. When he started that Poor People's Campaign, this is when he said through the act of Congress the government was giving out millions of acres in the West and the Midwest, and meant it was willing to undergird the poor white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. Not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, they provided federal agents so that they could further their expertise in farming. He's talking about what Frederick Douglass was just talking about. That Emancipation Proclamation was freedom to the wind, to the rain. It was freedom to the streets. So he comes 100 years after this dude. He quotes him, and then he runs his narrative because that millions of acres quote was going for the whole year. Last time he said that was a month and a half before the Poor People's Campaign was supposed to start. And it was supposed to start in 1968 on Mother's Day, May 14th. He was killed on April 2nd. He said that same speech about the millions of acres on March 26th. So he's killed a week after that, a month and a half before he could go down to Washington, and in front of the Capitol. He had what? He had a 6-week lease. He called it Sanctuary City, where he campaigned for teachers to come. They had school tents. They were trying to bring everybody down. So now they say, yo, we can't have this man come down there and start talking about we gave out millions of acres and the disenfranchisement of people, because by week 2, you're going to have 10 million Negroes down there. And this black man also gets white boys to walk with him. So you're going to have another 7 million white boys in the first 2-3 weeks of this campaign. So what he said, this is what we faced with. And in this campaign, we were coming to get our check. He was going down there to talk about you gave out millions of acres. This is why we're in the position we're in. But people
same position they doing right now with the immigration, bringing all these people in and talking about, Trump did the border shit. He didn't do the wall.
You're not giving them an economic floor. You're not giving Ukrainians and the Ukrainian.
You're giving them 150 billion.
They get they got the Ukrainian parole program where you can come to America, get Social Security at close to $1,200. They only give us $1,100 for those that are broken up. These people don't belong on Social Security. Over here, no one can get Social Security unless you have a disability. So
I need a disability right now.
So you saying
because I feel disabled based on how they delineated me right now in this situation.
It's a disability. So you got Ukrainian parole program. You have this immigration programs. You have the borders all messed up. So now you have over 20 million immigrants over here in the last, let's just say 8 years. A lot of people say 7 just in the last 2 years of this dude's presidency, and they're shooting those numbers down. But how could you keep numbers of illegal immigrants as they come? Because some of them are working on double visas.
Shoot, now, well, you go before we get, because we can be here for another hour talking about that kind of thing. And shout out to Monte. I know Monte's gonna cover that. We know. Shout out to Monte. He covering the news.
We'll be back.
We'll be back. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna catch that. What's this on the screen though? I see you got Biden up there.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to put that
plan on, but I see you took a peekaboo at his
because when we read those people, one of those people was right here. Where we at? Robinette, Jesse Robinette was the slave owner. This is him right here. Him. That's Jesse Robinette, but we're gonna go back and hit another person. He's up here somewhere. Where's Randall? I'm looking for where will we get it? I seen it earlier up in here. Let's try this one. No, that's not it. Okay.
What happened?
Wait a minute. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Her father.
We're looking at the screen like, what happened?
Thomas Herbert Randall L. This is the other Biden ancestor that was in Maryland who owned slaves. This is his daughter, Lydia Ann Randall. And here go Thomas Herbert Randall L. Now, in these families, you also have on the Robinette side, you have Captain George Robinette, who's right here. Bang, let me hit him. Captain George Robinette, he fought in the Revolutionary War and had to do with a lot of things in Hidalgo, Texas, and had land in Texas and had his own illegal indentured servants prior to his death and prior to Texas being admitted into the Union. And I'm going to leave with that.
Wait. God agree and say, go back. Pull up. What happened? Say it again. What part?
Which part?
Go back to the initial screen for Joe Biden. Go back to where it showed Joe Biden initially. Oh, there you go. Joseph Robinette Jr., right? Scroll down. He said, scroll down.
Who are you looking at?
He said, wasn't Finnegan one of Kamala Harris's ancestors?
You absolutely right.
He said you're absolutely right. I know you're behind me.
I don't know if it's the same Finnegans that's here, but
that surname basically is what you're saying stood out to you.
That's a good catch too. That's something to dive into. That's a good catch because
he caught it. See, you gotta be catching things. Well,
you
gotta agree and caught that right there, though. You heard me? Shout out to Cole.
And that's why wherever we go, me, you, and us, we preach what? Genealogy, because you can see who the people are.
Yeah.
On both sides, those people that oppressed you, who was the players, and what the situation is today. The situation is today is that you have legislation out here for supposed reparations, and then you have legislation blocking reparations in the Texas Bill 4321, HR 4321, and you have all these situations. But at the end of the day, I'm not a reparationist, I'm a restitutionist because my people had land.
That part.
But shout out to the reparationists. You need to know what you're up against.
I think they do. Because again, the dude that they put the face on California's reparations I talked about last week, you know what I'm saying? Equiano, Ulada, Equiano, you know what I'm saying? And for those who subscribe to a certain creed and certain storyline tied to those who do fit that, you know what I mean? I'm not going to front on them, but in the totality of how we just went over people of color, mulatto, and we know, like Benjamin Franklin was showing in 1754, right? That it was many swarthy people that would fit that people of color category. You know what I'm saying? Amongst indigenous people in 1754. That's during the French and Indian War, too, by the way. If you really notice that when Benjamin Franklin was making the observation, right, in 1754, that is the beginning of the French and Indian War, or the 7 Years' War, that actually took 9 years. You know what I'm saying? And King George III in 1763, after everything in totality came about, did the Royal Proclamation. You hear me? But still, appreciate you, Nine, for always coming in and walking it down, pulling up on us. You already know what it is. Hope everybody in the chat got the information.
We're gonna end with you think I'm gonna do something just for black people?
That was a good one, though.
Pull yourself up by your own bootstraps.
Yeah, autonomous, I guess. You got to be autonomous. Delineation is the thing, man. I think that, you know what I mean, in local politics, and how you delineate in your local areas where you have a power to kind of move a certain way, tap into certain things and resources in your local area when you're dealing with this year's campaign and how it affects you in your communities. You know what I mean? And shout out to Monte again with the news, and we're gonna show a clip from him, and we're gonna get on up the road, tap in.
President, just voting for the president isn't the end all be all when it comes to voting. Really, we need to be worried about the local politics and the people who make up the Senate within your state. If just as much, but really more than the president, mainly because those people who that don't get talked about enough, who are in the Senate, they're the ones really passing laws that affect your everyday lifestyle in these different cities, towns, parishes, wherever you may be from. And I come to realize that the president is just...
I'm trying to tell you, that's just a short, and he be doing the news, you feel me? That's just a clip, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking, Monte be getting busy now with the news. They gonna give it to you this campaign. Yeah, I already see it coming. I got another clip though, because of the shorts that's been popping. We're gonna give a shout out to everybody on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, that's been tapping in and sharing, liking, subscribing, however.
1790, the United States
right
conducts its first census. In this census, there are no designations for an Indian. There was only the free people of color, which consisted of a blend of melanated groups of people who have different ethnic and national origins, and free whites, which technically only meant living in the American colonies for 2 years prior. It isn't until 1850, after the height of the Trail of Tears, when the designation of Indian and mulatto appeared. For any Indian that chose not to head west, they were classified as free people of color and mulattoes, depending on the region they came from.
Yeah, see all that shit correlated what we talked about tonight. You feel me? A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Now, what you think? I think we touched on all that tonight. A little bit of history, a little bit of current day time, some political people involved in it, with their history and why they might not. You know what I'm saying? Because the people might not know. You know what I mean? But I thought that was.
Might not know. Free people of color.
Indigenous free people of color. You know what I mean? They were labeled black.
Later on, disenfranchised.
And disenfranchised into a black category. And that's why we're here, to have these conversations this campaign year. You know, until next time, 9-8, I appreciate you. Maroon J,
please address me as they used to. Yo, shout out to Super Blaze in the back. Shout out to my man Gotta Green, always catching everything and all things. Shout out to you, Mac Ether and the Autonomous Party, and those that walk the walk and understand the truth.
That's what this is about. The harsh reality is live life autonomously. We'll see you next week, Sunday. You know, same time, same place. Hopefully, as they say, one day at a time. Maranatha to y'all. Peace in your travels. Love and everything else that, you know what I mean? And if you hate, it's all good if you're paying attention. As long as you're paying attention, I guess. You might catch on something to help you in your own way. You heard me? God, let's give them that Maroon J. We out of here. Tap in next week, Sunday. Peace.
Maroon J, you got another one.
This This could take quite a bit of time.
Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces. How the fuck you bummy and broke but a pale racist? My lineage free people of color with a left make each nigga. This right here maroon, now it ain't burgundy. If you plotting murder, I'm certain that you'll need surgery. Hurt from when the burner squeeze. Protecting tribe business. Only consulting with governments tried to tribe with it. Please don't confuse us with those considered native. Semi-autonomy never was in our nature. Just address me as Esther Lucy. Wild Indian status and Cherokees riding Ruchis. In my war bonnet, if you want it, bring it to your region. And black forces the same color the European. Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces.
Aborigines, which means what? Black folks. You never find a white aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines, but you don't let them be called an aborigine.